What's up, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I'm a musician and astrologer, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. As always, thank you so very much for being here with me, for watching this video all the way to the end, for sending this video to a friend if you like it. That sort of thing helps me a lot. Thank you so much for doing that. If you like what you see here, you can send me a tip via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Super appreciate all that. That directly supports the production of this kind of content. If you want to learn a thing or two about astrology, you can check out my Patreon. There is also an electional report there that will help you to choose times to launch your newest product, or to have a first date, or anything else that you might want to start under auspicious skies. There's a document there that'll give you good times to launch that and times to avoid. You can go to zambonifunk.com to get a reading. You can get an electional reading for something bigger, like a wedding or something like that, that you would like me to look out months in advance. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. There's music there, there's merch there. Thanks for checking it out. Let's talk about the astrology of the week ahead. This week is actually pretty chill. I like it for that. And things have been pretty rocky, and there's been a lot going on. This week we've got a new moon in Taurus, and one of the things that I really like here about this new moon in Taurus is that there are benefics just flanking it. So it's all so we've got the new moon in Taurus, that is the sun and the moon conjunct there in Taurus, and then we've also got Venus there in Taurus, who rules Taurus. Cute, love to see it. Then we've also got Jupiter there in Taurus. So this is all of the beneficence that is possible. We've got the kind of togetherness, cooperative nature of Venus there in Taurus, in Venus's domicile, as well as Jupiter's sort of hopeful, opportunity bringing, excitement, that sort of thing. All of that is wrapped up into one here. Now, of course, we do have Uranus, right? So we're not going to get away from the sort of surprising quality of Uranus, or bringing unexpected things, or left field dynamics and all that sort of stuff. All of that is still present here as part of this dynamic, but to see both the benefics here does suggest that Uranus is kind of on his best behavior. So Uranus can break things. A lot of times Uranus will be associated with breakups, breakdowns, breakthroughs, break free, break away, all that sort of stuff. Liberation is frequently associated with Uranus. And so seeing this here and seeing a new moon, which is fairly closely conjunct this Uranus, I think it's 3-4 degrees away or something like this, there's a lot of Uranus in there, but this might serve as an opportunity to break from whatever is not serving, or whatever is feeling repressed, and find a way toward something that works a little more effectively in an environment that is hyper novel, right? We're in a historical moment where things are different than anyone had ever planned for or thought might happen. And so now this is a moment for invention and for thinking things through. This is especially cute because we can see that all this Taurus stuff is also making a sextile to Saturn in Pisces. So whenever we're looking at that kind of thing, then we're going to be seeing Taurus and Pisces, they get along. These are complementary signs. They are in a sextile relationship to each other. So there's something that wants to flow or work together in some kind of way. The water of Pisces wants to sort of nourish or feed the earth of Taurus and make some green things like these that are around me, right? So this is, and to see Saturn here, right? So Saturn is in Pisces. Saturn is the planet of limitations, boundaries, negation, denial, all this sort of stuff. Saturn is very much about structures and making things real or tangible in some kind of way. So if you've got ideas and for new inventive, innovative ideas, right? Thinking Uranus and Taurus, and thinking about Jupiter, who might be sort of excited about expansion and the sort of big picture of the thing, right? Jupiter is very good for seeing the whole forest and sort of getting an idea of the bigness of the whole situation here. This is very good for complex thinking, or thinking with complex systems is very good for that sort of thing, noticing all of the different kinds of dynamics that are going on here, seeing that sort of stuff, right? And let's also remember that Jupiter rules that Saturn in Pisces as well, right? So seeing that Jupiter here, as well as seeing that Venus here, looks like something that is delicious or pleasurable or that feels good, right? That makes the part of the reason for inventing something new is because it works better for you than the thing that came before, right? And so seeing all that and then putting it into something tangible with this Saturn in Pisces under this new moon, this looks great. This looks like a really good opportunity to sort of get things together and make it real in some kind of way. So I really like to see this sort of situation going on here. And now we're actually moving into a time where we've got both benefics hanging out together for a couple of months here. What we're going to see in the next little bit is Jupiter is going to move into Gemini, and right around the same time that Jupiter moves into Gemini, the Sun's going to move into Gemini, and then Venus is going to move into Gemini as well. So we're going to have both benefics there in Gemini as well. And so we've got a little time here where right now it's like all Taurus, everything is sort of in Taurus except Mercury. Mercury is still there in Aries, and Mars is still there in Aries, right? And so whenever we get the moon so we're going to get a moon in Cancer this week, a few days after the new moon in Taurus, then the moon is going to move into Cancer, and we're going to see a square to Mars and all that sort of stuff, right? And so it's not that we get away from the Mars things, but fortunately Mars in Aries is not making an aspect. It's immediately adjacent to Saturn in Pisces, and so adjacent signs don't make an aspect. It's like they're in a blind spot. It's like they can't see each other, right? And so because of that, we don't have Mars and Saturn tussling and creating problems for each other and everyone else. There's sort of the isolated problems, right? A Mars thing can be a problem sometimes. A Saturn thing can be a problem sometimes. But when they are not together, when they are not creating problems simultaneously, then they are much more navigable. They're much more easy to deal with. You can just handle the situation because you've only got one thing that you need to worry about. So this is going on this weekend. So we've still got Mars in Aries, and Mars in Aries is going to be hanging out with the North Node in Chiron, and Mercury is here in Aries, and so we still might see fighting words and all of the sort of frustrating dynamics. And Mars in Aries is going to be really ready to one thing that Mars in Aries is really good at is flexing, right? Just getting out in front of everybody and being like, I'm such a tough badass, like don't mess with me, and all of this sort of stuff, posturing, right? There's been the rappers are dissing each other right now, and so everybody's really excited about insults going on, right? This is very big Mercury Mars in Aries kind of energy, tear someone else down with insults, especially widely, publicly in front of everybody. Aries loves to sort of be in front of everybody about it, right? The noticeably the king, or noticeably the baddest one around, or something like this, right? This kind of dynamic continues all throughout the week. We're going to be seeing all that sort of stuff, especially whenever we get the moon making an aspect to that Mars. But as I said before, this is it's helpful that the Mars is kind of sequestered there, right? So Mars in Aries doesn't make an aspect to Saturn in Pisces, also doesn't make aspect to all the benefic stuff in Taurus. So Mars is not going to disrupt all this nice, delicious, sensual, feelingsy, sensitive Taurus stuff. The Taurus stuff just gets to be cute all by itself. We get a little sextile from Saturn. Sextile is a cute sort of situation, right? Complementary, helpful in some kind of way. So it's really nice to see all of this Taurus beneficence that is, if there's a disruption for that, then it's going to be Uranus, right? So it's going to be some kind of innovation or invention or new way to approach the Taurus things, rather than trying to do Taurus things and then just getting the table flipped on you or something like this, right? So this looks like a good moment to think with ways that the Taurus things, those things, hugs and body dynamics and all of that sort of stuff, things that feel good, taste good, sound good, all of these sorts of things, find ways for those to have a space, have a place in life to pay attention to be with, and maybe find ways to do that in a way that it could be a little different from what you were doing before. And because it is different, maybe there's something nice here for you. Maybe there's something better that you can do that could be a little bit of a break from what you had been doing before. Thank you so much for being here with me. Check out zambonifunk.com.